Hi, Courtney here. I'm trying something new for next year for my bullet journal, the Hobonichi Techo Cousin avec. I've known about hobonichi for a little while, but was doing well enough bullet journaling in the notebooks I could find. After trying out the memo pads this past July, and really just wanting to get away from that 100 plus GSM paper, I knew I wanted to try it out for real. I couldn't pass up the Animal Crossing pencil board. I'll link everything below. I spent a lot of time and ink trying to figure out exactly what I wanted, but also what would be the most cost-effective for me. Where I am, no one just has hobonichi in store, so I couldn't go look at anything, let alone purchase in person. I spent hours poring over the product pages and comparisons until I whittled down that huge list that I had made during the previews by talking with my coworkers, friends, and my husband, just for a couple of other opinions before I made my final choices. I debated whether to just buy the plain notebook, specifically the botanicals cover, or maybe the day free, but the appeal of the little bit of extra structure sold me on the cousin. I decided on the avec because I will be doing everything in here: planning, memory keeping, commonplacing, long-form journaling. And while the chunk of a thick notebook is aesthetically pleasing, it is just too much of a pain to work with, especially later on in the year. After everything released, I compared ordering direct versus their Amazon store versus a couple of other US online retailers. With the cost of shipping and duties plus seller markup already built into the total prices, it was cheapest for me to order from Japan, even with the higher shipping cost. I originally wanted the blue Sashiko cover just because of that wonderful texture, but the cost was a punch in the gut. And then when I was really ready to think about ordering, they were already out of stock. The panda or the love it cover was just too cute to pass up. I was very tempted by the Weeks design as well, even though I knew I wouldn't use a Weeks for my style of planning. I didn't think about the cover being for both books, but even with the whole year, the books and cover are still lighter than my current 2-book system: an A5 Hemlock and Oak and a B6 Scribbles That Matter. If I decide I don't want to carry both for some reason next year, I did confirm they fit comfortably in my Scribbles That Matter sleeve. I used the sleeve with the memo pads when I was trying them out, so the avec went in even easier than those, but it was still a little bit of a struggle to slide it back out. Full disclosure, I filmed on multiple days because we ran out to dinner after this, and then I also bought a clear cover on cover because the cream fabric is definitely going to get marked up going to and from work with me. Currently in my bullet journal, I don't use a year at a glance, so I'm not sure how much I'll reference these calendars. I'm pretty sure I'll be covering up at least the 2023, but I might also cover up the 2025 as well. I don't really use my index in my bullet journal, but I'll probably use the yearly pages for commonplace indexing, or maybe a habit tracker, as I use my phone calendar for all my future planning, which should also make going from a list view monthly to a full calendar an easier transition. I'll probably use this New Year space for my level up or level 10 life spread. I have been wanting to get back to making fancier cover pages for the monthlies, but even just adding a little mini calendar here would separate it, I guess. For bullet journaling, I use as much or as little space as I need and then just go right to the next day, even on the same page. So with commonplacing and long-form journaling in here as well, I'm hoping to just move on to the next page and use up the spaces needed and not be so particular that only entries for this day go on this page. I still have to look up translations of the bonus pages, even though I know I'm not going to use most of them, like especially not the addresses. I do think the biggest obstacle is going to be figuring out what to do with the weeklies. I typically haven't used them or pre-printed planners in general since 2016, just because a lot of them will shortchange the Saturday and Sunday, and with working a 9 to 5, I need a lot more time on the weekends to get chores done, any other personal tasks that I feel like doing, not to mention socializing or rest time that needs to happen on those days. I will probably put a birthday or important reminder up top, or maybe just some decorative washi since I've got plenty. The sidebar will maybe hold some habit tracking or my books that I read that month, maybe some TV shows or movies we've watched, things like that. Honestly, the biggest draw of the weeklies is the potential to use up my stash of simply gilded sticker kits and washi tape for some time blocking, denoting events, anything like that, which can also be used on my monthlies. I'm thinking of dividing the daily pages with my task lists and memory keeping or long form journaling at the top, and then the bottom will be mostly for commonplacing. The margins at the tops and bottoms with the top tasks and the quotes will probably be ignored and covered up with washi, or just writing over them since I'm pretty sure my black pen will stand out enough on top of the colors. I'm really excited to try out something new. If it doesn't work out, I can get the day free or a couple of plain notebooks if the text color changes end up not bothering me. And if the colors are too much, I guess I'll see what else I can find with lower GSM paper for 2025. Thanks for coming along for my journey as I figure out what system and notebook works best for me.